I walked into my sister's bedroom to return her jacket. Instead, I found her in bed with my fiancé of 4 years. But here's the part that will haunt me forever. She didn't look sorry. She didn't look guilty. She smiled, like she had just won a game I didn't even know we were playing. That smile destroyed my life. Tonight, I'm about to destroy hers. My name is Ava Chen. This is the story of how I burned my sister's world to the ground. But first, you need to understand something about Brooklyn. My sister wasn't born evil. She was made that way. And the person who made her that way? Our father. Brooklyn was Dad's favorite, always had been. When we were kids, Brooklyn got piano lessons. I got told to be quiet while she practiced. Brooklyn got designer clothes for school pictures. I got whatever was on sale. Brooklyn got praised for B's. I got ignored for A's. Brooklyn has such natural talent, Dad would say. She's gonna do something special. What about me? I was just there. Mom tried to balance it out. Your father loves you both the same way, she'd whisper when I cried. But kids know. Kids always know. Brooklyn knew too. And she learned early that being Dad's favorite gave her power. Power she would eventually use to destroy me. The first time I really understood this, I was 12. Brooklyn was 10. Dad was reviewing our report cards at dinner. I had straight A's. Brooklyn had B's and C's. Great job, Brooklyn, he said, ruffling her hair. You're really improving. He looked at my report card for exactly 3 seconds. Good, Ava. That was it. Good, Ava. Brooklyn caught my eye across the table and smiled. That same smile. Even at 10 years old, she knew she had won something I could never have. Dad's love. And she was going to make sure I never forgot it. Dad built Chen Properties from nothing. Started with one rental house when Brooklyn and I were babies. By the time we were teenagers, he owned half the commercial real estate in Denver. This will all be yours, girls, he'd say. The Chen family legacy. But he only ever brought Brooklyn to the office. Brooklyn got to sit in on client meetings when she was 16. She got to learn the business from the ground up. Me? I was too academic. I should focus on school. Brooklyn soaked it all up. Every contract negotiation. Every property deal. Every dirty trick Dad used to squeeze out competitors. She learned more than just real estate. She learned how to manipulate people. How to smile while you stab them in the back. How to make people trust you right before you betrayed them. Dad was her teacher, and she was his perfect student. When Brooklyn graduated high school, Dad gave her a job at the company, assistant to the president, 20-hour weeks. $50,000 a year. When I graduated valedictorian with early admission to law school, Dad gave me a handshake. Proud of you, kiddo. That was it. Brooklyn was 22 when Dad made her vice president. She had been working there for 4 years. She knew every client, every property, every secret, including the ones that would eventually land her in prison. I met Ethan in law school. 3rd year. Study group for constitutional law. He was everything I had never had. Attention, affection, someone who actually listened when I talked, someone who chose me first. We dated for 6 months before I brought him home for Christmas. I was nervous. Brooklyn had never shown interest in any of my boyfriends before, but then again, I had never brought home anyone I actually loved. Ethan was charming, funny, good-looking in that clean-cut lawyer way. Brooklyn, beautiful, confident, magnetic, but Ethan only had eyes for me. We spent the whole week wrapped up in each other, planning our future, talking about marriage, kids, the life we were going to build. Brooklyn was quiet the whole time, polite, pleasant, normal sister behavior. I thought I had finally won something she couldn't take. I was wrong. After Christmas, Ethan started acting different. Distant. Always on his phone, working late, just stressed about the bar exam, he'd say. Once this is over, things will go back to normal. But they didn't. They got worse. He'd disappear for hours, come home smelling like perfume that wasn't mine. When I asked about it, he'd get angry. You're being paranoid, Ava. I'm working. Stop making everything about you. For months, I made excuses. For him. For me. For the sick feeling in my stomach that told me something was wrong. But I loved him. And love makes you stupid. Love makes you drive to your sister's house on a random Tuesday to return a jacket. Love makes you use your key when she doesn't answer. Love makes you open that bedroom door even when your gut is screaming at you to run. Love makes you stand there for 10 seconds watching your entire world collapse. And love makes you believe your sister when she says, "We should talk." We sat in Brooklyn's kitchen. Me, her, Ethan, like some twisted family meeting. Brooklyn made coffee. Actually made coffee, like this was normal, like she hadn't just blown up my entire life. "How long?" I asked again. "4 months," Brooklyn said, calm, like she was discussing the weather. 4 months. They had been together for 4 months. The whole time we were planning the wedding? Yes, Ethan finally spoke. "Ava, I never meant for this to happen. It just, don't." Brooklyn cut him off. "Don't lie to her, she deserves the truth." She looked at me, eyes clear, voice steady. "I wanted him the moment I met him at Christmas, so I took him. Not, it just happened. Not we fell in love, not even a fake apology. I took him." "Why?" My voice was barely a whisper. "Glinspur." Brooklyn smiled. That smile, the one that had been destroying me my whole life, because I could. That was it. No grand reason, no excuse, no justification, because I could. "You've always been the smart one, Ava, the responsible one, the perfect one. But you know what you've never been?" She leaned forward, eyes locked on mine. "Dad's favorite." The room went dead silent. Ethan is successful, ambitious, everything Dad respects in a man. When I bring him home, Dad will finally see that I can get anything I want, even the things meant for you. My hands were shaking. "This is about Dad?" "Everything is about Dad, Ava. It always has been." I looked at Ethan. He couldn't meet my eyes. "Did you know? About Dad? About any of this?" He shook his head. "No, I mean, Brooklyn talked about wanting to make her father proud, but I thought..." "You thought you loved her. I do love her." The words hit me like a physical blow. "More than me?" Silence. "Answer me, Ethan. Do you love her more than me?" He looked at Brooklyn, then at me. "Yes." I stood up, walked to the door, turned back one last time. Brooklyn was holding Ethan's hand, smiling. "I'm done," I said, "with both of you, forever." "Ava, wait." Ethan started. "No, you made your choice, both of you. Now live with it." I walked out of that house and drove straight to Mom's. I had no idea that Brooklyn was already 3 steps ahead of me. I called Mom from her driveway, sobbing, barely coherent. "Mom, I need you. Something terrible happened." "Come inside, honey. What's wrong?" I told her everything, every detail, every word. The bedroom, the talk, Brooklyn's smile. Mom listened, nodded, made all the right sounds. Then she said, "Honey, Brooklyn called me 2 hours ago." My blood turned to ice. "She told me you might be coming here. She's very worried about you." "Worried about me?" "She said you've been having some problems lately. Stress, seeing things that aren't there. She thinks you might need help." The room started spinning. "Mom, I'm not making this up. I saw them together. In bed, with my own eyes." "Sweetie, are you absolutely sure? Because Brooklyn said you've been acting strange for weeks. She thinks you might be having some kind of breakdown." Brooklyn had called Mom. Before I even left her house. She had already told her version, already planted the seeds. "She's lying, Mom." "Why would I make something like this up?" "I don't think you're lying, honey. I think you're sick. And sick people sometimes see things that aren't really there." Mom hugged me. Tight, loving. "We're gonna get you help, okay? Dad and I have already made some calls." They had already made calls. In the 2 hours between Brooklyn's call and mine, my parents had decided I was mentally ill. I drove home in a daze, sat in my apartment staring at the wall. My phone buzzed. Text message. "Sorry it had to be this way, but you'll thank me someday. B." 20 minutes later, another text. "P.S. Check Facebook." I opened Facebook with shaking hands. Brooklyn had posted a picture. Her and Ethan, smiling, happy. The caption read, "Finally found my person." Posted 1 hour ago. 67 likes. 12 comments. All from our mutual friends. "You guys are so cute. About time. Perfect couple." My friends. Commenting on a picture of my fiancé with my sister, like I had never existed at all. Brooklyn's campaign was surgical, precise, devastating. She called every single person in my life. Friends from law school, colleagues from my internship, even my study group. Same story every time. I'm worried about Ava. She's been acting really strange lately, seeing things. I think she's having some kind of breakdown. By the end of the week, nobody would return my calls. When I tried to explain what really happened, they looked at me like I was crazy. Brooklyn seemed really concerned about you, my friend Sarah said. Maybe you should talk to someone. You know, professionally. Sarah had been my roommate for 2 years. She knew me better than almost anyone. And she believed Brooklyn over me. Dad was worse. He wouldn't even look at me. Your sister is trying to help you, he said. The least you can do is be grateful. Grateful for being betrayed, humiliated, abandoned. I was supposed to be grateful. The wedding venue called. We heard about the breakup, so sorry for your loss. My loss. Like Ethan had died instead of choosing my sister. Brooklyn changed her Facebook status to in a relationship and tagged Ethan. 3 days later, she posted pictures of them apartment hunting. 1 week later, engagement photos. She moved fast. Faster than I could counter. Faster than I could even process. By the time I figured out what was happening, it was over. I had lost everything, and everyone believed it was my fault. I couldn't stay in Denver. Every street corner held a memory. Every coffee shop was a potential ambush, and Brooklyn was everywhere. Society pages, business journals, local news. Brooklyn Chen, rising star of Denver real estate, announces engagement to prominent attorney Ethan Walsh. They were the golden couple. Beautiful, successful, perfect. And I was the crazy ex-fiancé who couldn't accept reality. I packed everything I owned into my car. Drove 18 hours straight to Boston. Started over. New city, new job, new life. Nobody there knew Brooklyn. Nobody knew the story. For the first time in my life, I was just Ava. Not Brooklyn's sister, not the crazy one. Just me. I threw myself into work, became the lawyer I was always meant to be. The one who fought for people who couldn't fight for themselves. People like the person I used to be. 2 years in, I was thriving, senior associate, my own cases, respect from colleagues who had never heard the name Brooklyn Chen. Then I met Daniel. Daniel was different, kind, patient, real. When I told him about Brooklyn, he didn't look at me like I was damaged goods. That sounds incredibly painful, he said. I'm glad you got out. Not, are you sure that's what happened? Not, maybe you misunderstood. Just, I'm glad you got out. For the first time since that night in Brooklyn's bedroom, someone believed me. Someone chose me. Someone loved me exactly as I was. We had been together almost a year when Dad's call came. Ava, it's Dad. I hadn't heard his voice in 3 years. I'm sick, really sick. The doctors say I have weeks, maybe less. My world stopped. How bad? Bad enough. Please come home, please. I booked the next flight to Denver. Time to face Brooklyn again. Dad looked nothing like the man I remembered. Gray, thin, barely conscious. Brooklyn was there. Of course she was there. Perfect daughter, perfect caretaker, perfect everything. She looked up when I walked in. Ava. Surprise. Relief. Something else I couldn't identify. How is he? Not good. Liver failure. The drinking finally caught up with him. Dad had always been a drinker. Social drinking, he called it. But I remembered the smell on his breath at breakfast, the slurred words at dinner. Does he know I'm here? In and out. He's been asking for you. That surprised me. Dad asking for me. Brooklyn stood up. I'll give you some time alone. She squeezed my shoulder as she walked past. I'm glad you came. Was she? I sat by Dad's bed, held his hand. It felt like paper. His eyes fluttered open, focused on me with effort. Ava, I'm here, Dad. I'm sorry. His voice was barely a whisper. For what? Everything, the will, the business, choosing favorites. Tears started running down my face. Brooklyn, she's not who I thought she was. What do you mean? The money. She's been taking money. His voice faded, eyes closed. Dad? Dad, what about the money? But he was gone. Slipped back into unconsciousness. He never woke up again. Brooklyn cried at the funeral. Perfect tears, perfect grief. She gave a perfect speech about Dad's perfect legacy. Standing ovation. 2 days later, we sat in the lawyer's office. Me, Mom, Brooklyn, and Mr. Peterson, Dad's attorney for 30 years. As you know, Robert updated his will recently, very recently. He looked uncomfortable. This document was signed just 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. When Dad was already dying. When he was barely conscious most of the time. To Brooklyn Chen, I leave Chen Properties. The business, all assets, all accounts. Total value approximately $23 million. Brooklyn nodded. She knew this was coming. To Ava Chen. I held my breath. I leave nothing. The words hit like a physical blow. Nothing at all? I asked. I'm afraid not. No explanation either. I'm sorry, Ava. Mom stared at her hands. Brooklyn stared at me, but this time she wasn't smiling. She looked guilty. There's one more thing, Mr. Peterson said. Robert asked me to give you this, Ava, privately. He handed me a sealed envelope. Brooklyn tensed. What is it? She asked. I don't know. He said it was for Ava's eyes only. I took the envelope. Heavy. Thick. Brooklyn was watching me like a hawk. Can I have a moment alone? I asked. Everyone filed out, except Brooklyn. Brooklyn, please. It's okay. I'll wait outside. But she didn't look okay. She looked terrified. I opened the envelope. Inside was a key and a note in Dad's handwriting. Ava, Storage Unit 247, Denver Self-Storage on Colfax. Everything you need to know is there. I'm sorry I was such a coward. Make this right. Dad, Storage Unit 247. What was in Storage Unit 247? Denver Self-Storage. Saturday morning. I stood outside Unit 247 with Dad's key in my hand. What had he hidden here, and why? The key turned easily. The metal door rolled up with a screech. Inside, filing cabinets, boxes, stacks of papers, and a note taped to the first filing cabinet. Start here. Top drawer. BC Holdings file. BC Holdings. I pulled open the drawer, found the file. My hand started shaking as I read. BC Holdings LLC incorporated 3 years ago. Owner, Brooklyn Chen. Assets, 12 rental properties in Denver. Total value, $8 million. Funded by transfers from Chen Properties operating account. Brooklyn owned $8 million worth of real estate. Bought with money stolen from Dad's company. I kept reading, kept digging. More companies, more properties, more theft. Pacific Rim Ventures, 4 properties in California. $3 million. Golden State Holdings, 6 properties in Texas. $5 million. Mountain West Properties, 8 properties in Colorado. $11 million. All owned by Brooklyn. All bought with stolen money. $27 million. Hidden in shell companies across 4 states. Brooklyn hadn't just inherited $23 million from Dad's will. She had already stolen $27 million before he died. $50 million. All hers. All stolen. All hidden. At the bottom of the last box I found a letter. In Dad's handwriting. Ava, I found out about Brooklyn's theft 6 months ago. Confronted her about it. She cried, begged me not to turn her in, said she was building something for the family, something to make me proud. I believed her. God help me, I believed her. But the stealing didn't stop. It got worse. By the time I realized what kind of person Brooklyn really was, I was too sick to fight her. Too weak to fix it. She rewrote my will while I was unconscious. Forged my signature with the lawyer she bribed. The real will leaves everything to both of you. 50-50. I tried to change it back, but she was watching me too closely. This storage unit is my backup plan. All the proof you need to send her to prison. I should have stopped her years ago. Should have loved you both equally. Should have been a better father. Make this right, Ava. You're the only one who can. Love, Dad. P.S. Check the false bottom in the last filing cabinet. Bank statements for my personal account. The one Brooklyn doesn't know about. $2 million. It's yours. Always was. I found the false bottom, the bank statements, the account information. $2 million. Hidden away. Meant for me. Dad did love me. He just didn't know how to show it until it was too late. I sat in that storage unit for 3 hours. Reading every document, understanding every transaction, building a case that would destroy Brooklyn forever. And for the first time since that night in her bedroom, I smiled. The same smile she had given me. Like I had just won a game she didn't even know we were playing. Back in Boston, I called Marcus Liu, best criminal attorney in the city. Marcus, I need to hire you. Not for my firm, for something personal. What kind of personal? The kind that sends someone to federal prison. We met at his office. I brought boxes, files, bank statements, everything. Marcus read for 2 hours, occasionally whistling, occasionally swearing under his breath. When he finished, he looked at me with pure admiration. Ava, this is the most comprehensive fraud case I've ever seen. Your sister is fucked. Pardon my French. How fucked? 27 million in documented theft, across state lines, using false companies, wire fraud, tax evasion, money laundering. We're talking 20 years, maybe 25. Good. But here's the thing. We can file charges and let the FBI handle it. Brooklyn goes to prison quietly, justice is served, but nobody really sees it happen. Or, Marcus grinned, or we make it public. Very public. How public? Brooklyn is throwing a big investor gala next month, 300 people, trying to sell the company for $50 million. What if we crash that party? She'll see me coming. Not if we do it right. Fake name on the guest list. You sit in the back, wait for her big moment. Then you take the microphone and show everyone exactly who Brooklyn Chen really is. I could picture it. Brooklyn on that stage, celebrating her triumph, and me walking up to destroy her in front of everyone who mattered. The FBI? Already filed. Investigation is open. They're just waiting for our signal. The business partners? They'll drop out the second your presentation ends. $50 million deal dies in real time. The media? I've already reached out to financial reporters. They'll be there. This will be front page news by morning. Do it. You sure? Once we start this, there's no going back. Brooklyn's life is over. I thought about Dad's letter, about the forged will, about 4 months of stolen love and 3 years of stolen peace. Her life was over the moment she smiled at me in that bedroom. 6 weeks to prepare. Marcus handled the legal side, coordinated with the FBI, briefed the business partners, lined up media coverage. I handled the evidence. Organized $27 million worth of theft into a presentation that any investor could understand in 60 seconds. Simple, clear, devastating. 2 days before the event, I flew to Denver, checked into a hotel across town, stayed invisible. The night before, I called Daniel. "How are you feeling?" he asked. "Ready." Any second thoughts? None. What happens after? After I come home to you, and we start planning our wedding. Even if this makes you rich? Especially if this makes me rich, he laughed. I love you, Ava Chen. I love you too. Saturday morning, the day of reckoning. I put on my best dress, did my hair, looked in the mirror. Today we find out what justice really looks like, I said to my reflection. Game time, the grand ballroom, 300 people in expensive clothes. Brooklyn worked the room like she was born to it. Beautiful, charming, magnetic. She caught every eye, commanded every conversation, owned every moment. This was her night, her triumph, her coronation. Ethan stood beside her, still handsome, still charming, still completely under her spell. They looked perfect together, like a magazine cover. I sat in the back corner, plain dress, hair down, invisible. Marcus was at the bar, caught my eye, nodded once. Everything was ready. Dinner ended, lights dimmed. Brooklyn walked to the stage. The room went silent. "Thank you all for being here tonight," she began. "Tonight marks the culmination of my father's life work. Chen Properties has grown from a single rental house to Denver's premier real estate empire." Applause. "Tonight, I'm proud to announce that we've accepted an offer to purchase Chen Properties for $50 million. The room erupted. Champagne glasses raised. Congratulations shouted. Brooklyn beamed. This was her moment. My father always said the Chen family builds legacies that last generations. Tonight, we honor that legacy. She clicked her remote. Her presentation filled the massive screen behind her. Charts, graphs, property values, revenue projections, all stolen, all lies, all about to be exposed. Chen Properties represents more than just real estate. We represent family, trust, integrity. I stood up, started walking toward the stage. Values that have guided us for 30 years. Security noticed me, started moving, and values that will guide us for 30 more. I climbed the stage steps. Brooklyn saw me. Her face went white. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, taking the microphone from her frozen hands. "Before anyone signs anything tonight, there's something you all need to know about Brooklyn Chen." The room went dead silent. "My name is Ava Chen. I'm Brooklyn's sister. And the woman standing next to me has stolen $27 million from this company over the past 3 years." Gasps. Phones coming out. Security approaching. I clicked my remote. Brooklyn's presentation disappeared. Mine took its place. Bank statements, transfer records, shell companies, all blown up huge on the screen. These documents show exactly how Brooklyn moved money from Chen Properties into companies she secretly owned. BC Holdings, Pacific Rim Ventures, Golden State Properties, all purchased with stolen funds. Brooklyn tried to speak. "She's lying. This is all. The FBI opened a federal investigation last week," I continued. "They already have all of this evidence. Ask your lawyers. Ask the prosecutors. It's all real." Security reached for me. "Brooklyn didn't just steal from the company. She stole my fiancé, destroyed my relationships with our parents, made everyone believe I was mentally ill when I tried to tell the truth." I looked directly at Brooklyn. "But you know what you couldn't steal? My ability to fight back." Security grabbed my arm. "The sale you're celebrating tonight? It's not happening. The business partners are pulling out as we speak. The FBI is on their way to make arrests." I let them escort me off the stage. "Oh, and Brooklyn?" I called back. "Dad left me a storage unit, with everything, including the real will, the one where you forged his signature." Brooklyn's legs gave out. She collapsed right there on stage, in front of everyone. Game over. The video went viral in 30 minutes. 10 million views by morning. Headlines everywhere. Real estate heiress exposed for massive fraud at own gala. Brooklyn's arrest made the front page. FBI raid on her house led the evening news. 12 federal charges, 8 state charges, multiple civil lawsuits. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Brooklyn's lawyers tried everything. She thought her father approved the transactions. It was a family business arrangement. She intended to pay it back. None of it mattered. The evidence was perfect. Guilty on all counts. 22 years in federal prison. Ethan tried to stand by her for about a week. Then reality hit. Brooklyn was going away forever. Her money was gone. Her empire was ashes. He filed for divorce before she was even sentenced. Brooklyn looked at me during sentencing. For the first time in my life, she wasn't smiling. She was broken, destroyed, finished. "I'm sorry," she mouthed. "Too little, too late." With Brooklyn's conviction, Dad's forged will was invalidated. The real will was found in the storage unit, witnessed, notarized, legitimate. Everything split 50-50 between me and Mom, $11.5 million each, plus life insurance, plus Dad's hidden account, $15 million total. I donated $5 million to a legal defense fund for family abuse victims, invested the rest, secured the future, bought the house with the garden Daniel and I had dreamed about. We got married on a Saturday in October, small ceremony, close friends only. Brooklyn was in federal prison. Mom was in grief counseling. Dad was gone. For the first time in my life, my wedding was just about me and the person I loved. Perfect. I was in Denver for a business trip 2 years later when I saw her. Brooklyn. Behind the counter of a coffee shop near the courthouse. She looked older, thinner, tired. Our eyes met. She froze. I could have walked away. Should have walked away, but I didn't. "Coffee, please," I said. She made it with shaking hands, slid it across the counter. "It's on the house. I can pay. Please, let me do this one thing." I sat by the window. She joined me on her break. "How long have you been out?" I asked. 6 months. Good behavior. Work release program." "That's good." Silence. "Ava, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Was it worth it? All of it? Destroying my life?" I thought about that. Really thought. The revenge part felt amazing. Watching you fall apart on that stage was everything I had dreamed about for 3 years. She nodded, eyes wet. But that's not what made me happy. What did? Building a life you could never touch. Proving to myself that I didn't need Dad's approval or your permission to be successful. Becoming someone you could never steal from again. I'm sorry for everything, the money, Ethan, Dad, all of it. I know you are. Do you forgive me? I studied her face. She looked genuinely remorseful. Broken but learning. Changed. Ask me again in 10 years. She smiled, sad but real. That's fair. I stood to leave. Brooklyn? Yeah? Be better, not for me, for yourself. You're getting a chance most people don't get. Don't waste it. I won't. I walked out into the Denver sunshine. Here's what I learned. Some people think they can take whatever they want. They think the rules don't apply to them. They think love is a zero-sum game where someone has to lose for them to win. Brooklyn thought she could steal my life and smile while she did it. She was wrong. You can't steal someone's ability to rebuild. You can't steal someone's capacity to fight back. You can't steal someone's future. And in the end, justice always comes. Sometimes it just takes a little longer than we'd like. So here's my question for you. Was I right to destroy Brooklyn's life? Or should I have let it go and moved on? And here's the bigger question. If your own family member betrayed you this badly, what would you do? Drop your answer in the comments. Tell me if you think I went too far or didn't go far enough. Because I'm reading every single response. And trust me, the next story I'm going to tell you, it makes this one look tame. Subscribe now. You won't want to miss it.